Oh man, I don't know if your wife is like a hydration queen, but Holiday does this thing.
She always has a thing.
Holiday does this thing where about once every 2 or 3 months she has to get like a new like Stanley or whatever. The new one is the Awala. But it's always the same deal. She gets this new, thing that she's going to, and now it's going to change the hydration game for her. She's just going to be so hydrated because of this bottle, because it has nothing to do with the amount of water that you actually drink, but it definitely increases
what it comes out of.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, it increases the amount of water that you can keep on you to drink at a given time. So that's going to just totally change.
I know at one point, Darylyn had a jug that you put a gallon of water in, and it's got like you're almost there. You're, drink some more. You got,
Yeah. And then on the other side, it says like 9 a.m., 11
something like that. Yeah.
We are. Welcome back in. Another episode of Where the Game Lives On, the official podcast of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. Caffeine is kicking in. Been gone. A little bit of a, what do they call it? Sabbatical? Hiatus. A little bit of that. We had to do the good old Price Cutter Charity Championship recharge presented by Dr. Pepper. Presented by Monster Energy.
Yeah. Presented by the Ozarks Coca-Cola Dr. Pepper Bottling Company, a.k.a. Monster Energy.
Absolutely. Let me turn on my D&D real quick. People texting me.
Do not disturb.
Yeah. Tournament was it was like a movie.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was a movie. It was a dream.
It does fly by, but it was just I remember before the week, like before the tournament itself, like when the build was kind of finished and seeing it for the first time. And we've had this dream of doing things differently for the last 2 years. I mean, like I would say a year ago, March, we took a trip down to Savannah to the Club Car Championship and saw what they were doing down there with their skyboxes and hospitality and different things. And ever since then, we've had a dream of reinventing the Price Cutter Charity Championship. And so actually seeing it, it was even better than we had imagined. And so I was very happy with it.
Of course, the time frame that you're talking about, I kind of come on board partially through that. Yeah. Get to see the previous year, kind of what it had been, a little bit of change, and then to kind of see the significant improvements that happened between year 1 and year 2. For me, it was pretty cool. It was really impressive just to be like, oh man, like we weren't playing around, and we sit there and we discuss it. And we talk about it, and we go through all these meetings and try to explain it to all these people. But until you're actually like just taking it all in.
Well, and I can remember actually going out there like 2 weeks after last year's tournament. We went out. It's probably maybe a month afterwards. We had the tent people down, and we were marking off, with tape measures, trying to figure out, well, will the Ozarks Club venue, will it sit in this spot? What can we do? And I can remember that, and then just to get to here. And probably the coolest thing was the tour folks when they arrived. Rico, who's been on the podcast multiple times, when he gets here, Drew Absher, who's our ops guy with the tour. I mean, when these guys start arriving, they see 26 of these all over the country and world.
Yeah.
And to see their reaction, they were floored with how big of a change there was. And so that's what probably really made me feel like we had done something, is when they, and of course the public, it was universal.
If you'd been there before, you knew. You were like, holy cow, this is not
people were this very complimentary, very excited about the changes. So
yeah, beyond that, the golf was great. The weather,
could have drawn that up even better.
We're missing.
Well, I guess we kind of had to trade because the Wednesday Price Cutter Pro-Am was a monsoon.
Yeah.
Literally, there were rivers flowing through Highland Springs and the ponds on hole 6 that interns were swimming in. Shout out Logan Green Plate. But yeah, that we traded that. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it was low 80s in the Ozarks in mid-July. You can't beat that. So, and I think the crowds, especially on Saturday, showed that.
Yeah, and we're paying for it now, though.
It's 1,000 degrees right now.
It's the dog days of summer for sure. I like how you shouted out Logan Greenplate. We'll see if he's listening. Because I know he has been.
Well, he doesn't get up in time to listen to it. I guess you can listen to it at any time of day. But
you can, yeah.
Love you, Logan.
Well, we talked about the recharge though that kind of takes place for our staff after the tournament. You kind of have to get yourself grounded again, and then we hit the ground running with Hall of Fame stuff. But you went on a little trip.
Yeah, well, I think all of us kind of did a little bit of getaway. I mean, I know you had got little bachelor party stuff. I'd love to hear about, but yeah, we went to the Outer Banks in North Carolina. I've heard of it. I've known about it. I've never been there. I have a 12-year-old daughter who thinks that John B. hung the moon and that the Royal Merchant can be found and that there's treasure out there. And so we drove 19 hours to the Outer Banks, but it was, like I said, I'd never been. The beach is my favorite place. It doesn't matter where it's at. I love the ocean. I love just being at the beach. And so it was unique because I'm used to Florida beaches and like it's commercialized everywhere. You leave one town, you're right into another town, and there's houses and there's shops and there's restaurants and there's everything. I mean, all the way down 30A or wherever you're at on the Atlantic coast. That's what I'm used to. And it was just crazy because there was the touristy area of the Outer Banks, but then where we were staying at, you left and we were still in the Outer Banks, but we drove 17 miles with nothing but the ocean on one side and the intercoastal on the other and dunes. I mean, and it was just 17 miles of pristine, there was no business. There wasn't a business. There wasn't a house. There wasn't anything. And there was multiple places like that. So it was just a really cool place. But good place to go, just do nothing, which was awesome.
So now your daughter's obsessed with Outer Banks. Have you ever watched it?
I've seen, I don't know, was there 5 seasons so far? Maybe the 6th. I think, according to her, I think there's a 6th season coming out this fall. If there's 5 seasons, I've probably seen 3, maybe.
So how did the actual thing compare to what the show had built up in your mind?
First of all, I learned on the way to the Outer Banks that the Outer Banks was actually filmed in Charleston, South Carolina. So there was nothing. It's kind of like Ozark not being filmed at Lake of the Ozarks. So, but anyway, she loved it. There was a couple places that she wanted to see, and so anyway, she had a good time. Everybody had a good time.
Yeah. So I was doing a lot of wedding prep on my time off. So was able to.
What's your countdown? We were coming up on a month, maybe a little over a month.
46 something.
End of September.
I should know. Yeah, end of September.
So,
yeah. But so I was able to relax, kind of get mentally recharged, but was still doing a lot of stuff, and then had the bachelor. You call it bachelor party, bachelor trip?
I don't know. I got the little RSVP text from the Noah, and
that means you haven't RSVP'd.
That means that I suck, is what you're saying.
Oh, you know how it goes. She's like, "Oh my goodness, people haven't RSVP'd," and I'm like half already have. What are you talking about?
Okay, I thought that was like the first. That's the get with it is what that is. Okay.
Maybe you didn't get the other one. Maybe you didn't get the invitation.
Well, I was gonna wait and see if you were still employed here, but I'm just kidding.
I'm so in the dark about all that stuff. Like we went and ate with her dad the other day, and he was like, "So how's the wedding stuff going?" And of course, I just keep my mouth shut.
Oh, so I thought you were going to say that you finally asked him to marry his daughter.
No, I did do that, but I let her speak. But in my head, I'm thinking oh, it's all done. And she's like, "Dad, we have so much to do." And I'm like, "What? What is there to do?"
My advice as an old married guy is just be supportive. Yes, whatever you want to do, holiday, help out. Let her plan it the way she's probably been planning it since she was a little girl. So just be supportive and let her do what she wants.
Just now getting past the tournament, because the tournament is just it's a hurdle.
Well, it's
just now getting past it. I've started to kind of visualize the day, actually mentally, all these people I know are going to be there. Mm-hmm. That's just kind of now hitting me a little bit. So I don't know. I think now that
speaking of wedding, so it's been, we've been married since 2002, so 22 years. We got married in her parents' backyard, which most people listen to this podcast know that my father-in-law is Gerald Andrews, who used to run the Hall of Fame. So Gerald, of course, knew everyone. And so at this wedding in her backyard, there was a giant tent in the backyard and stuff. And I bring this up for 2 reasons. One, we're talking about weddings, but that's the first time I met Sam Hamra, who just passed away the last few days. But big supporter of the Hall of Fame and obviously a friend of Gerald and his family. But I didn't know this until, I met Sam, fast forward, a few years ago when I actually meet him. I had actually met him already because he was at our wedding in 2002. So, so I'm saying you're going to meet people. There's going to be people at your wedding that you have no idea who they are.
What? We're getting totally off topic here. Rest in peace, Sam Hammer.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. My camera running for lieutenant governor. What was it?
Governor.
Governor. Yeah. Did you vote on Tuesday?
Yes. I did my civic duty. My civic duty.
The civic duty. Yeah, me as well.
Obviously, the primary leading into the general, but Sam Hammer just did so much for Southwest Missouri, for Missouri. Just the kindest, just philanthropic. He had zero reason to care about me at all, and he's treated me like a friend from the day that I was introduced to him. Yeah. Not necessarily at the wedding because that was a different scenario, but when I came to the Hall of Fame, he's been just beyond awesome. So just rest in peace. Life well lived.
I doubt I'll meet somebody like Sam Hammer at my wedding.
He's no. Well, you never know.
Never know. Where were we? Bachelor party. Yeah.
Yes.
No. Yeah. I don't want to get taken out of here in handcuffs. So I'll keep it. There was a lot of gambling, but very little winning. So that's not really a good equation, but just a couple of buddies, couple of day ones, some guys that I haven't, haven't seen in a while and everything. So
was it did you head out of town?
Yes.
Kind of thing?
Yeah. We went to Joplin.
This isn't like Vegas, the honeymoon type movie or anything.
I had some guys already coming out of town. I didn't want to have them pay to do a whole. I just wanted them to be there because I wanted to be there with me, not because it's like, well, I paid for this.
Now, are these like your groomsmen guys, or are these different?
Mostly, yeah. A couple other guys that I invited to that are just close friends, and I'm not one of those guys that's like I didn't want to have like 10 people standing.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't invited, so I was.
I'm sorry. Played a little golf though too. Went to Bailey Zimmerman concert.
Yeah, okay.
Which
she's been brought up. He's been brought up as a possible.
He's getting pretty big.
Price cutter concert guy.
There was. I'd say there's at least 6,000 people there.
Yeah, I mean he's got some number ones, doesn't he? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was opening for Morgan Wallen.
So where was this at?
Downstream.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and there was. I mean, it was just. It's not even really like a venue. Mm-hmm. They kind of have it out in the parking lot, and there's a hillside.
Okay.
That people kind of can sit up in the back. But yeah, there was several. It wasn't terrible.
Okay.
By the time he came on, it was like 8:00 and the sun was kind of going down. I hadn't been to a country concert. I'm not a country music fan, really. I had to go get a pair of boots so I didn't feel out of place. and then I showed them to my fiance and she's like, why?
Why do you have those?
Why? You're not country. But I lost track of where I was going with it, but went to the country music concert. And then there was just like this whole migration of people that went to the casino and it was just packed, absolutely packed, but it was a fun weekend and was able to just kind of have a good time. And then got the Sunday scaries a little bit coming back into work. I was like, oh goodness, got to get back on the grind here. But
it is weird. Like each year, because the tournament is so hyper focused. Like once we get to that last Hall of Fame event, I think, the Sports Commission Awards was like June 20th or 18th or something. And as soon as it's done, the next month is 100% all day, every day, wake up thinking about it, go to bed thinking about it.
Yeah.
Price Cutter Charity Championship. And so it's a mental grind. You get through it and then it's necessary to, get away.
Like shift gear.
Yeah. But it's weird just getting your brain. Like we have 3 massive Hall of Fame events coming up within the next month. And it's like getting refocused on Hall of Fame stuff. And there's still Price Cutter Charity Championship stuff that needs to be done, wrapping up some things. And then there's a couple more events coming up, but just the whole brain change, refocus is indescribable, really.
Speaking of Hall of Fame events, recently announced class of inductees in the Cape Girardeau southeast part of the state. We'll be out there September 17th. Yep. To induct those guys. You can we'll put that in the podcast description down below. You can see the release of those inductees, and we're excited for that.
Excited. So. It's one of our, broadening the footprint, statewide footprint, being the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. Of course, we have the annual enshrinements in Springfield, Kansas City, St. Louis, Columbia now, but we're going to be rotating a luncheon around the state to kind of hit every corner. And Cape Girardeau's, there's so much talent down there, so much history, so many deserving inductees. And so we're excited to get over to the Boot Hill, and we got an exciting class.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell you what, one other thing after the tournament kind of comes to an end that I've started to realize in terms of how my mindset shifts for the latter half of the year is that it kind of signifies the return of football for me.
Oh, yeah.
So like as soon as, late July and the tournament starts getting over, I kind of start getting that itch.
Well, I woke up on August 1st and it was like, whoa, this is football month.
Yeah.
I mean, most people that listen to this podcast know I'm a Florida State fan. They play 2 weeks from Saturday in Ireland. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Is that like a week zero game? Like one of those week zeros?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in the Hall of Fame game, it was on this past Thursday. It's always just like, wait, what? Wait, it's already,
training camp just started. Well, they're already having the Hall of Fame game. So it's football's here. So it is that time of year. The coaches poll just came out.
Yeah.
So it's definitely happening.
No, I can't remember, but you're kind of like me. You're more of a college football guy.
Yes. I mean, I watch it. I mean, I watch NFL every week, but I love the pageantry of college football.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Florida State will be interesting this year. They had so many guys to the NFL. So many guys.
It's kind of weird. The coaches have them ranked 10th, and I'm not sure. Like they can be better than that, and they could fall flat on there. I mean, they've got some. Of course, the revamped ACC with all the new teams. There's like 38 teams in the ACC now, but like they go to SMU in like week 3.
Yeah,
that's a massive trap game. I mean, it looks. You think, oh, they're ranked 10. Well, SMU is a solid program, and so they've got games against them, Memphis. So there's some, some weird games that are new to the schedule.
College football is just going to look different this year.
Oregon, Washington, UCLA, USC in the Big Ten. That's just going to be
well. And I could be wrong in assuming this, but you've got the expanded playoff this year, so you're going to have better chances of making it. I think you're going to see a little bit more with the bigger conferences. And probably some of those trap games that are going to be coming involved with that. I think you're going to see a little bit more parity in college football.
But you also get the OU and Mizzou is now a conference game like it used to be, back, in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Now it's a conference
game.
It's in Columbia, right?
It is, yeah.
So it's going to be a huge game. Mizzou's ranked 11th in the preseason.
Yeah, so. I'm really scared to wear my OU stuff. Last time I went, and I've had to have talked about it on this podcast.
You may have to add a CH to it when you leave. Ouch. After Mizzou puts that.
Last time I went, though, was Chase was their quarterback. It was the year they ended up being number 1.
05-ish?
I want to say more like 08.
Okay.
But OU went into the game ranked number 1.
Yeah, I remember.
And it was like 1v4.
Yeah.
Like they were still up there.
Is that the year that Mizzou, Kansas, and then they beat Kansas, but Kansas went to the Orange Bowl?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it was an upset though, and it was from the open. Like they returned the opening kickoff back, and I was like, "We're in trouble.
Yep.
We are in trouble." And
it was a night game.
Oh, and Columbia was hopping wild.
That's awesome.
Taylor Frederick was probably there if I had to guess. He probably was at Harpo's or whatever it was after that. But yeah, no, I think you're going to see. I mean, I think you might even see 2-3 lost teams that make the playoff.
Yeah,
they're just losing to other really good teams.
With 12. Because I think the Big Ten and SEC are going to put 4 each in there at least. I would be shocked if they didn't.
Yeah. Well, you're going to get one at large.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be like your Liberty or your Tulane or whoever comes out of, just has that special year. But you get the automatic bid, 4 automatic bids, every major conference now, not the Pac-12, excluding the Pac-12.
The Pac-2.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder what will happen with that too. But it's just going to feel a lot different. Watching like, USC.
Well, you're going to have, like, I saw some of the schedules of like Oregon's at Wisconsin and like week 4.
That's just like a bowl game.
Yeah. But it's now it's conference. So there's going to be those type of matchups that back in the day, I would have watched from the, time. This is pre-game day. Like when, now you get up and you turn on game day and you watch it till the opening kickoff. That didn't exist really back when I was in college. But we would watch from the very first 11 o'clock game all the way through the midnight game. We would just watch football all day. I don't do that anymore because I've got kids. I've got a lot, whatever. But so I watch Florida State, and most people know that I never watch them live. I'm always tape delayed, but those type of games, the Oregon, Wisconsin games, those are the type of games that I will watch as a sports fan. That I'll take the time to tune in to watch that game. Those type of games.
And, like for Florida State, they'll probably play like Stanford or Cal.
They do play Cal. I don't think they play Stanford this year.
How weird.
They do play Cal.
Yeah. What is that? Berkeley all the way down?
Yeah. I think they host Cal, but that's what I'm saying. Their schedules, it's just everybody's schedule's different.
Yeah.
Because there's new games on there.
With games like that, I mean, it's apparent that they didn't think about like travel a whole lot when they started seeing all this seismic change.
It's not a new game, but like just looking ahead to game, like Mizzou hosts Auburn for homecoming on October 19th.
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge for us Hall of Fame wise, because our enshrinement in Columbia is going to be the very next day on the 20th. And so, we're excited, that, but just college football is just exciting. Just an exciting time.
Well, like you talk about Cal, Florida State, like I think that should be like, that sounds like a neutral site game.
It sounds like
traveling all the way across country.
It sounds like both teams finish 6-6. They're playing in the Sun Bowl or something is what it sounds
Nobody
like.
would ever, like if, go back to like the OG, ACC, Pac-12. Neither of those teams are scheduling that game.
Never.
Because you'd be playing week 2 going all the way across the country, whatever it is.
Never scheduling that game.
I love it though. I'm excited to see kind of how it works out. I'm excited for fantasy football too.
Fantasy football. I mean, even NFL. I mean, you never know until they start playing. But I mean, the Chiefs are loaded for.
Oh my goodness!
For a 3-peat.
I've seen some of the reports coming out of training camp stuff, and it's just like.
And talk about a chip on his shoulder. He was named the 4th best player in the NFL. Patrick Mahomes.
Who's in front of him?
I don't even remember seeing it. What? I just remember seeing that he was 4th, and then
this is like that NFL Top 100 or whatever.
Something like that. But he was 4th, and then like the tweet I saw said that who's 1 through 3, the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Because
I was about to say,
he's better than Mahomes, what? And so. It was so he's already got a chip on his shoulder, and they asked him the other day if he liked being the villain, and he was just like, I like winning, and if winning all the time makes me a villain, then I guess I'll be a villain or something like that. So
good for him.
They are, and last year, what was their downfall? Downfield receiving, and now they got Xavier Worthy. He runs like a 4.2 100.
Yeah,
I mean the guy flies all over the field. Yeah, Hollywood Brown. So. They're loaded. The defense was already good. I mean, I think anybody picking against the Chiefs, good luck. I mean, they're loaded. They're loaded. Now, I don't think realistically it's going to be next to impossible for any team to go undefeated the whole way just because it's a grind, but I wouldn't root against them doing it. I mean, their division, the Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, they're not going to challenge.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah, I don't even know who's like the Broncos. Who's their quarterback?
I don't even know.
Yeah. It's not Russ because he's in Pittsburgh now. Like, I have no idea. Yeah. But no, the reports coming out of training camp is that like Patrick Mahomes looks better. And you're like, wait, what? Which apparently you're saying there's room for improvement because he's only the 4th best player.
It was. I mean,
he's got all these weapons and they're kind of running not full contact or whatever, but they're kind of doing some first offense, first defense. And they're like, there's been a couple of sessions here where the first team defense doesn't even look like they have a chance. And they got
their defense is salty.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. I'll tell you this: I love watching NFL, love watching football in general. But for me personally, if it wasn't for fantasy, I would not watch near as much NFL as I do.
It certainly keeps me interested in the games that I'm not watching. Like everybody knows, I'm a Colts fan, so I watch Colts games. But I pay attention to everything. Like I'm looking at the bottom of the screen, seeing the stats. Oh, he's got a touchdown pass. That's okay. All right.
I'll tell you what, you talk about like best combinations in history. Like you're talking peanut butter and jelly, whatever have you. Fantasy football and NFL red zone. Oh my goodness. It completes me.
Yeah. I don't watch I used to watch the red zone, but not anymore. I'm not that into it, but
used to have DirecTV and they packaged it. Like you had to get it with Sunday
do
Ticket.
we have a legit trophy for our fantasy football league? Because I have not yet received.
I don't know.
My trophy.
Can we expense that? How's that work, boss?
I don't know, but we should just call it the Byron Shive Trophy because
because you won the inaugural one. We got to get that thing started up. We do a fantasy league. The funnest caveat is it's his staff members here at the Hall of Fame. And then we have summer interns that we get to know quite well. They're with us during the tournament. And so that caveat is they're in the league the year after their summer internship. And if they want to try and return, they got to make the playoffs. Yep. So last year was the first year we implemented that rule. We did have one intern who made the playoffs.
Shout out Jake Havmeyer.
He's going to be back. You know, I saw he was interning at
Central Florida. UCF,
but he was at Ballparks of America.
Oh yeah,
this summer.
Yeah. He's headed off to UCF for grad school.
We love seeing interns doing big things. So,
yep, we saw him at the Royals game actually when we were up there for the enshrinement, and we went to the Royals game on that Saturday night before enshrinement.
Sure did,
and he was there with his family. So
man, our job is so cool. It's so cool. All right, we've come to the end of our time. If you made it this far, thanks for listening. Just be sure to share the episode. Tell your friends about it. Leave us a review. New episodes every Wednesday. Apple Podcast. I'm a little rusty on that. I'm a little rusty on the outro here.
That was not good.
Yeah, no, I'll get better at it though. We'll get back in the swing of things. Just like we said, a lot of Hall of Fame events coming up.
We may even talk about sports next week.
We got to the college football, the fantasy. You know, that's the two big ones.
All right.
New episodes every Wednesday. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Stay up to date. Everything happening at the Hall of Fame. We're back on the Hall of Fame grind. As Byron mentioned, a lot of big events coming up here in the immediate future. Anything for him?
We'll see you next week.
Catch you next time on another episode of Where the Game Lives On.